Hello, welcome. Today we are here to discuss the top three mistakes parents make when preparing their teens for college. I am Taylor Ross, the CEO and head coach of The Life You Write, where we help teens with college admissions and mindset and confidence coaching. I believe you and your child can have the life you want. You just have to create your own story. I have been in this industry for many, many years, professionally editing, writing, and coaching for over 15 years. I've got my BA in English from UCLA. I taught the critical analysis and reasoning section of the MCAT for the Princeton Review. As an undergrad advisor at UCSB, I have seen the challenges that students face once they actually get to college. I've written and edited for publications from Santa Barbara Magazine to Yoga Journal. I am a member of a number of writing organizations, as well as the Independent Educational Consultants Association. I got into this because it's important to me to help families navigate what can be an incredibly stressful and potentially overwhelming time. Family is really important to me. I'm quite family oriented. You can see me here with a few of my loved ones. And I know that the teenage years and particularly the process of applying to college can be, an incredibly stressful time. It can put a real strain on family relationships. So part of why I do this is to help relieve that strain. As you can see, I have helped students get into the top schools across the country, from UC's to Ivy Leagues. Just a few examples here at the bottom. I've worked with hundreds of students, guided hundreds of families, and coached students in writing thousands of successful essays. Now, let's get right into it. The number one mistake that I see is regarding timeline, waiting too late. It is frankly wild to me that schools and the general culture doesn't tell parents to start sooner. It's not, you just don't know. Often schools think like, oh, deadlines aren't going to be until senior year, so we can go ahead and work on this senior year. That's probably what your teenagers are thinking. But in fact, if we take a little look at some of the things I help with and work backwards, we will see that you really need to be starting this a lot sooner, freshman year or even before. So just taking a look at the essay process itself. We start in with a writing foundation, some, targeted exercises with this particular form of writing, which is very different from anything else your teens have done typically to this point. The Common App personal statement, the one essay that the majority of schools will see. We do a series of brainstorming sessions specifically for supplemental essays, and then, of course, writing the supplements themselves. One way that I like to frame it to give you a sense of the scope is most students will work through multiple drafts on their essays. They have to, right, to make them good. And if your student is applying to 10 schools and each school has 3 supplements, and then let's say they do 3 drafts for each one. That's conservative. We're looking at 10 times 3 is 30, times another 3 is 60. Writer, not a mathematician, but I think we got that one. That's a lot of essays, plus the Common App and all of those drafts. So, and then of course we go back and look at advanced writing techniques and polishing to make sure everything is as top-notch as it can be before sending it off. So this process alone takes 6 to 12 months, if not more. So students should really be starting the essay process in junior year. And then, of course, they're going to need things to write about. And this can be community service, this can be extracurriculars, this can be academic programs, but a whole lot of things that they will need to be doing and thinking about before they get to junior year. So creating a plan for that freshman year, even before, is really the best time to start. So all of this to say, it is never too early to begin thinking about how to prepare your teen for college. And like with finances, if the best time to start was yesterday, right, investing, the next best time to start is today. So the second biggest mistake that I see is teens not taking initiative. And I'm going to be straight with you, parents. Parents not supporting their independence. Um, I see it all too often. Parents who want to help and support, and yet there is a fine line between supporting your teen and enabling them. Particularly as an undergrad advisor at UCSB, I've seen this really consistently, and I hate to say this, but it has gotten worse, over the last 5 years. Teens increasingly not knowing how to take care of themselves, not knowing how to manage what they need to accomplish, and this shows up in college, right? So if you're not helping your teen become independent now, you are actually doing them a disservice. And that is one of the most important things that teens will get as they work with me. So these are just a few of the ways that we focus on developing independence as we prepare for the college admissions process. And this is something that you can be thinking about and doing, once again, before they, are getting into high school, and then supporting them, throughout, right? So of course, writing skills, these are really important. Communication is a lifelong skill. Self-reflection is really necessary for the college process, and a useful habit to encourage, just as teens are growing, right? Time management, this is a big one. Who knows a teen who is not a procrastinator? Um, so figuring out how to balance everything, and particularly when, I have high achieving teens who really are overbooked, they do need to learn how to prioritize. Um, and then, of course, we want to think about career goals, which, looking backward again, that helps with what are they going to major in. And then we can look for, well, what can they be doing in high school that will lead to those things? It's so much stronger for a student to be participating in an activity, freshman, sophomore year, that is linked to their intended major, which is then linked to their long-term career. That's so much stronger than, a student who's just like done a bunch of things and they don't know what they're going to do about it, and they, don't have a plan. So, and then of course, confidence, right? Who can use a little more confidence? And I know that this is something that teens especially struggle with. It, can be a difficult growth period, especially socially, and thinking about everything that's ahead. They can be under a lot of pressure. And of course, confidence is something that, as we develop through this, admissions process and on into life, that they will use to be strong and confident and achieve their goals and dreams throughout the rest of their lives. All right, number 3, the biggest mistake that I see is parents trying to do it alone. We need a support system. If you had a toothache, you wouldn't try to fix it yourself. You'd call a dentist, right? Um, Most parents do try to DIY the entire college admissions process, and it makes for a ton of stress in addition to what you may already be doing as a parent and as a human being, right? There is an entire industry devoted to this. People spend years studying and practicing and, learning from experience, and you shouldn't expect yourself to figure it all out in the course of, just your time for your teen. So additionally, the process has gotten increasingly more complex. I've seen it shift and change and become more demanding over the last 10, 15 years, even within the last 5 years, even if you had an older child go through this process just a few years ago. Things are changing rapidly in this landscape, and as we all know, it can be incredibly competitive. So um, I would love to share with you a little bit from a couple of parents who have worked with me about why they found hiring me so helpful. So here we go. Right away, we have Shannon saying about her son. You're kicking him in the butt a little bit, which I appreciate. I worked with her daughter, who, then went on to thrive in college. And then Shannon came to me later with her son. And, she said, you know how teenagers are. They think they know everything. They don't listen to the parent. You're a good person to lead and guide and get them to focus. And it's less stress on me. I hear this from parents all the time. They, you know, teens teens don't want to listen. You'll have to tell them to do something a million times, but they will listen to a seasoned professional. Chris here says about his son, I value what you've done with him, and I know he does too. I can't make him come out of his shell or think creatively or the things that you do. I can't do those. My wife can't either, and he doesn't want to listen to us to try to do something like that. He's pure teenage boy. It's been a very good investment, quite frankly, to use you to do this. You can see that families benefit from having someone who knows what they're doing, work with and guide their teen. Teens need an outside professional to work with. And that is something that Matthew highlighted for his daughter. It was important to her to realize how much she's accomplished, what she's been able to do, and he appreciated the positive reinforcement that she got from somebody, not him, who is a professional. Ultimately, Sarah hits it right on the head. It makes for a more graceful relationship with your child during this process. She said, I didn't realize how intense truly it is until we've lived through it, and the intensity lessened once we found you. We're very grateful. I feel like she's in good hands. It's made it a more easy and grace-filled process for all of us. This process can be incredibly stressful, put a real strain on parent-child relationships. And when you have expert help, it can really relieve a lot of that stress. So there you have it. This process can be overwhelming and incredibly stressful. Don't do it alone. Great to be here with you today. I hope you learned something from these 3 mistakes. And as you can see, one of the best things that you can do is start as soon as possible, and go ahead and book a call with me down below so you can get started right away and not have to do it alone. I am currently running a free program to get started in 5 days. And the application call link, once again below, will be a few questions for you to answer. And then we can hop on a call and see if you might be a fit for the free program. I look forward to seeing you soon.